Why are conversations around reducing pedophilia so taboo? Probably because pedophilia is so taboo. That said, research such as this does exist and continues to happen. A decent review of research on prevention can be found here and is relatively layman-friendly. As is pointed out in that literature, there is extreme stigma of being a minor attracted person or MAP, which is illit. The common take I see is, pro-treatment opinion make it more accessible and encourage for pedophiles that haven't acted out to receive mental health care, in the hopes of diverting them before a child is harmed. Anti-treatment response opposition to pedophiles receiving treatment, even if they have not acted out or harmed anyone. Most popularly paired with the sentiment that pedophilic thoughts should be punishable by death or castration, as a means of preventing CSA. Find the sub. Because of who is doing it. Link aka the men in power. That's why they lie about queer people and stranger danger so much. Jesus Christ, dude, this post is an absolute triumphant work of art. This is so important, and you explained it so succinctly. There is so much fog in the air around the topic, especially in regard to conspiracy theories as well as the public's complete fundamental misunderstanding of how it happens. It's not like fucking Taken. This problem isn't solved by Liam Neeson hooking a guy's balls to batteries, as fun as that sounds. Aside from how ludicrous their vision of the scenario is, I'm unsure of what you mean. I haven't witnessed what you're talking about. What hostilities do you see being expressed when the topic of combating the ill effects of pedophilia and child abuse is brought up? What sorts of things are brought up? Holy prancing pumpkins on a pinhead, someone actually posted a sane comment? With sources? I think I'm going to faint. Sir, I salute your enormous courage and strength. Sanity is a terrible burden no sane person would want to bear. No, that's not sarcasm. The Psychology in Seattle podcast did a long interview with a non-offending MAP several years ago. It was very interesting to listen to. So most people who sexually assaulted children aren't even pedophiles. It's about opportunity, power, control, and inflicting harm. Perhaps talk about preventing sexual assault and abuse instead? Why are rich people attracted to kids? Thank you for being mature and logical about this. Without both and instead turning a blind eye, we won't solve this issue. Appreciate your time. This needs to be included in any discussion about that term. Link. This just seems like the punch a pillow myth to me. It was thought for a long time that punching a pillow would serve as an outlet, and ultimately reduce anger and lashing out. But then later research showed that it actually had the opposite effect. LGBTQ weirdness. For some reason, talk of permanent pedo solutions often seem to get shot down by this would disproportionately affect X group. Can you expound on this? How is the topic at hand related to LGBTQ issues? It's also easy to weaponize against your enemies. No one will willingly stand against punishments for pedophiles, which in turn makes it a very attractive cudgel. Those punishments are easy to pass, which then means if you want to punish your enemies, all you need to do is recontextualize something they do as pedophilia. Hence the focus on things like drag queens and trans people, even though most children are molested by straight identified male family members or close friends. Because people are not ready to admit the underlying tones of pedophilia and predatory behavior in their everyday lives. That requires an objective amount of intelligence to properly communicate, and people don't want the responsibility of having to constantly acknowledge and take action. It's not just pedophilia. Constricting behavior leaves children constantly exposed to predators. Parents punishing their kids for not doing what they are told, or more so the expectation without Ks. Incomplete and obstructions to data, cognitive dissonance, and media agendas. We cannot handle the truth. What we know we don't know. Reasons, mind you, not good reasons, but ones I've heard nonetheless. One covering for a family member, probably the most common, but some families would rather hide abuse than air dirty laundry. 2. LGBTQ weirdness. For some reason, talk of permanent pedo solutions often seem to get shot down by this would disproportionately affect X group. 3. Shielding the rich and connected ones from their richly deserved fate, aka why doesn't this carry the death penalty? Just my take. My experience does not match yours, so it's weird you describe your experience as a kind of universal. Hyperbole from exasperation, perhaps? You don't provide any context for how or when or to whom you're bringing up this subject, but I can think of a dozen inappropriate circumstances. A fair reread of your post will, I think, reveal it could just as easily apply to the homeless guy accosting strangers at the Walmart deli counter about why no one wants to talk about the reptilians. You more F. Because both the topic and the solutions are taboo. Let me offer you some examples. Prevention. People who experience attraction to minors rarely come forward on their own volition. It's morally abhorrent and deplorable, it's illegal, and it's socially taboo. That means prevention campaigns aimed at awareness, self-identifying, or helping pedophiles to come out won't reach many people, because no one wants to admit those feelings publicly, or are stuck in denial. To make such see. Where is the evidence that people fucking child dolls reduces the likelihood they will attempt to abuse children? In any other area of society, we would take the opposite view. If someone had the urge to exterminate other races, we wouldn't say that a play extermination room where they can pretend to execute black and brown people is something that reduces their likelihood of offending. Thanks for your time. I think as a society we need to be more mature and honest about these topics. I don't have any specific examples I can link to, but it's actually common. Reasonable treatment for child attraction like therapy is opposed in the same way reasonable drug addiction treatments, free needles, free meth, are opposed. Give tools to parents fails as a protection measure when you consider how many kids are molested by immediate family members. You can't change a pedophile. Attitudes just mean we're okay as a society with waiting for them to offend, waiting for those offenses to be reported, and only then punishing them. It's not an actual solution. An actual solution would prevent abuse, not just punish it after the fact. Punishment is a consolation at best. I think it's worth trying other methods. Also, we can have any opinion we want. The only thing I can't stress enough is that discussion on how to reduce pedophilia and child abuse needs to be more openly discussed with realistic solutions that involve logic and not emotional reactions. Logic and reason solves problems, anger shuts off critical thinking pathways. This is objective science. Genuine conversation would require discussing a solution more sophisticated than a bullet. Short of trading the bullet for prison or another lethal punishment, many people don't want to think about pedophiles. Many don't want to think about how every pedophile was once an innocent child. The moment you acknowledge that pedophiles were once innocent, you imply that there might be something that can be done to keep people from becoming pedophiles in the first place. This shifts the blame from T. Try educating yourself with the facts before you try to argue with people. Pedophilia is very resistant to treatment, very high recidivism rate. Hardwired. You can't change a pedophile, they are predators. Best approach is to give tools to parents so that they can protect their children. Link. Thanks for the mature response and realizing the importance of this topic. I wish everyone could be mature and honest and how critical it is to talk about this. Normalizing the prevention of child molestation by allowing pedophiles to receive treatment is the only hope we have of addressing this problem. By keeping it taboo, we ensure that children will continue to be molested. Correct, it's very nuanced, and the short emotional answers of just kill them isn't practical to anyone with a shred of reason. People would rather avoid issues than engage if it's scary or stressful. I've begged people to stop well-documented for-profit child torture, and everyone just looks at me funny then talks about celebrity gossip. I have CPTSD rear its head, explain what happened to me in 5th grade, and I'm a supervillain for holding them to account for walking their own talk about mental health instead of using it to justify infantile behavior. Rant aside, what is hiding in your vagueness? How do I? Ideally, a compassionate approach to help mentally ill people before they cause harm in the first place. I know in today's time period it seems impossible, but I'm willing to devote my life to trying. I'm crazy enough to dream and work for a future where everyone is treated nicely. How to do that, I'm not sure. I'll keep trying to learn and improve. Powerful men, powerful women, per women. What matters is talking about this topic with maturity on a daily basis. Race, color, religion, gender doesn't matter. This is a very important thing to talk about. That's a good point, but anyone can claim they did it for other reasons and refuse to admit to being a pedophile. Why would they want to label themselves such a title when they can make some other excuse? It just makes sense to talk about pedophiles because guess what? If you are attracted to children, you may more likely to act on it. I do appreciate your points, and I'm sure there are power-tripping people who do the same, and likewise we need to find systems to prevent that and power trip. I've genuinely never seen someone disagree with wanting to end pedophilia. Who are you having these conversations with? Because so many powerful men are guilty of it. So a 40-year-old person can be attracted to a 10-year-old child, and we don't all agree it's sick? Attraction is oftentimes accompanied by lustful thoughts. Does anyone want some old creep fantasizing like that about their child? Make me understand, please. Because of research done by Alfred Kinsey that continues to get cited in courts, he did low-quality, super unethical research among prison populace who tampered with his own data to come to the conclusions he wanted. One conclusion being, CSA offenders are unlikely to re-offend. Others being that perpetrators of CSA should be treated as nonviolent offenders. He also trained perps to measure how much their victims enjoyed the experience. Not kidding. Their measure included the victim crying out. Yeah, the easiest way to combat manipulation is to be taught independence. But nobody's gonna teach independence when we're expected to be slaves until we're 25. OP is just being dishonest. What he actually said, and actually get negative reactions to, are broad and general pro-pedophile statements. As always, it's broad and general pro-pedophile statements as far as the rules allow, with the aim towards a society where networks of pedophiles share hyper-realistic child sexual abuse images and tell each other how much they like the Annabelle 6-year-old doll versus the extra-tight Mei Ling 7-0 doll. What is your suggestion for reducing it? If it's to lower the age of consent, yeah, I'd say that's pretty weird too. To answer your question about why people might be weirded out, the average person doesn't have child diddling on the mind, so if you're talking about it a lot, it comes off like you're trying to figure out how to get away with something. Link the censoring doesn't help either. Jail is useful, but we need more intelligent systems in conjunction. I appreciate your reply. The funny thing is honesty and objective open discussion would solve all three. Hopefully things will be changing soon. Rome wasn't built in a day. Thanks for the reply. I'm hoping we as a society can be more mature about this topic because turning a blind eye and acting like it doesn't exist is being dishonest. Silence is violence, so I think we should start being more mature and talking about it on a daily basis. I mostly see people wanting to end pedophiles air quotes because they usually mean either MAPs or child molesters, either of which are inherently pedophiles without doing anything about the pedophilia. Removed by Reddit. While I agree that answers are very hard to reason around, the mere act of trying is needed effort. That's where we start. It's a starting point to springboard a real social effort. All theories and discussions are needed and needs to be done in an open, mature, and honest manner. I hope people are willing to engage in discussion because even bad talking points can be built open to be known as what works and what doesn't. I'll never claim what is the solution, but what I am passionate about is we need increasing open dialogue. What's going to show up if I click that link? The question is, are you willing to jail a few innocent people in order to get more child abusers? Some research regarding this area, link. Are you talking about child sexual abuse or pedophilia or something else? Pedophilia, child sexual abuse, and something else. In order to find a solution, it's going to be very nuanced and multifactorial. It can't be something isolated, it will have to be systematical. The exact specifics I am unsure of, but they must be done as ethically as possible. Castration is debatable. While I'm sure it has benefits, it also has downsides. Assuming that castration is good, it's still not enough. The reasoning is that this will need a systematical approach, where multiple things in unison are used with a societal understanding and cooperation. Well, it's not exactly a cheery pub topic, is it? Talk about it with the people who share your enthusiasm, but like with any topic, gauge how far you can force it onto people. I'd wager that that's what gets you these aggressive reactions, rather than the topic itself per se. Do you think people would respond differently if the topic was abortion, for instance? Take the obsession comments as feedback. You might not think you're obsessed, it's a strong word, but with such a heavy top. Point is, there seems a class divide in how the issue is accepted, treated, and spoken about. The only taboo is there's a time and place to bring it up. Wouldn't have that chat with your nan over a Sunday roast. But I bet every newspaper has at least one mention of pedophilia every day. The only way pedophilia will ever truly be dealt with as an issue is to normalize people admitting they have it for the purposes of getting help. Consider, if people couldn't acknowledge publicly, or let it be publicly found out, that they are addicted to drugs or cigarettes, or people would want to kill and torture them to death, how would those people ever partake in programs, medical or otherwise, that can help them manage the symptoms of their illness? I saw a YouTube clip of a doctor. Seems simple: postpone execution until they have successfully outed their ilk. The more they flip on, the less violent the execution. That's disgusting. Humans need to start educating themselves, learn critical thinking, and be more mature and less emotional.